Tangled is a Disney movie that is loosely based on the German fairy tale of Rapunzel. I don't really know what else to say, so let's cut to the chase. This movie's kinda stupid. In this video, I'm gonna go over all the stupid things in this movie, and then reveal something else at the end. So stay until the end of the video for an epic secret. Also, I'm not sure how many clips of Tangled I'll be able to find or put in this video, so I would recommend that you watch Tangled before watching this video. If you haven't watched Tangled, just assume that everything I say about Tangled is true, because it is. Anyway, I'm going to start with the parts of this movie that are less stupid, and then get to the continuously more plot-questioning parts as the video goes on. Also, I try not to include typical Disney movie things like human-like animals, so that this video wouldn't be 10 hours long. So in the beginning, there's a drop of sunlight or something, and it creates the magic flower that would end up giving Rapunzel her magic. This just confuses me, because how does a drop of sunlight work if light is not a tangible thing, and why does it create a magic flower? This makes no sense, but it is teetering on the line of, it's a Disney movie, so I won't say that much about it. Next, in the Snuggly Duckling, everyone breaks into song talking about what their dreams are, and one of the thugs mentions that he wants to be a concert pianist playing Mozart. The problem with this is that I'm pretty sure that Mozart would not have been alive when this movie takes place. This is quite a minor nitpick though, and we have more important matters to attend to, so I won't dwell on it much. Also, not really much of something that is stupid or wrong with the movie, but it kind of makes sense if you think about it. But the witch that takes care of Rapunzel is actually kind of a better parent if you ignore the part where she abducted Rapunzel. I mean, Rapunzel's mother and father just really let their magic daughter be taken, instead of making sure that no one will try to steal her away and use her magic. This can essentially be chalked up to irresponsible parenting though, which is very real. Okay, now let's talk about some more mind-twisting errors in the plot, most of which are characters being illogical or stupid. When the royal guards or search party or whatever they're called find the magic flower to help cure their queen, they rip it out of the ground and put it in water or something instead of keeping it alive to use for the future. This could just be chalked up to the soldiers being ignorant towards how to use the flower though, but they clearly knew it was magic before they killed it, so I don't know, maybe test it or something before you rip it out of the ground. But after drinking the magic flower water, the queen becomes cured of her illness and gives birth to Rapunzel, who has magic healing powers. But why does her offspring get magic and she doesn't? I'm no magician, but it seems pretty illogical that only your offspring gets magic and not the one who is actually affected by the magical artifact. Let's talk about Flynn Rider though. There are two instances in which Flynn does something that I think is, how do I put this? Impossible for a human to do unless they were ignoring the laws of physics. First of all, while chasing against Maximus for his satchel, both him and Maximus fall off this massive chasm that Rapunzel's tower is in. I don't know exactly how far the fall would be, but I think I can confidently say that it's pretty far. This doesn't stop Flynn or Maximus though, as they both make it down with no injuries at all. Another feat that Flynn pulls off that should clearly classify him as a multi-continental threat is that when he and Rapunzel are in a cave that's filling up with water, ignoring the fact that he can open his eyes underwater, which I know humans can do, but I'm pretty sure they aren't supposed to. He opens his mouth underwater for a brief second and then closes it again and is able to continue being conscious until he can escape the cave. The only explanation for this is that he was somehow able to separate the oxygen and hydrogen atoms in the water, which, me personally, I haven't been able to see any humans do before. So either Flynn is a mermaid, he can split atoms, or this movie makes no sense. Let's shift our focus to the main character though, Rapunzel. Somehow, Rapunzel is aware that the lanterns that the kingdom sends out every year to honor their lost princess are on her birthday. This makes me wonder a few things. First of all, how does she know when her birthday is? I don't remember there being a mention of it in the movie, and personally, if I abducted a child, I wouldn't tell them when their birthday was. And even if she did know when her birthday was, I didn't see any way for Rapunzel to track the time or the day in her tower. No clock, no calendar, no anything. You could say that Rapunzel doesn't know exactly when her birthday is, but she knows that the lanterns are on her birthday every year, but then you have to question again where she got that information from, because like I said before, I don't think Mother Gothel would be giving away this kind of information. She also mentioned specifically that it is her 18th birthday, which once again raises questions on how she knows how old she is and how she knows that it's her 18th birthday. If you really think about it, how does Rapunzel even know what day or year it is? How does she know anything at all if she doesn't go outside of her tower and she was kidnapped as a very young child? There's no way she managed to get a good education, so the only explanation is that she got all her information from the books in her tower. But she only has like 3 books, and I don't think 3 books can really store all that information. Okay, but now let's really get into the problems that, in my opinion, have no real explanation and kinda just break the plot of this movie. First of all, why didn't the royal family send out a search party to find their daughter after she was kidnapped? Seems kinda stupid in my opinion. And if they did send a search party, how did none of them think to search the very noticeable tower that stands above all the trees? They very clearly sent a bunch of people to look for a cure to the queen's sickness, and that's how they found the magic flower. So you're telling me that they couldn't send another really big search party to find their daughter? Essentially, the entire kingdom went searching for the flower, and that thing was significantly less noticeable than the big tower sticking out above all the trees. So either there was no search party for the royal princess, or the entire search party consisted of Helen Kellers and Stevie Wonders, both of which are pretty illogical solutions. At the end of Tangled, Mother Gothel dies because Flynn cuts off Rapunzel's hair, which means that the power keeping Mother Gothel young is gone and she turns to dust. This seems to make sense, but then a couple minutes later, Rapunzel cries on Flynn and her tear heals his wounds. This means that her power was not actually tied specifically to her hair, but rather to her. With this logic, Mother Gothel shouldn't have died because the power of the flower was still in Rapunzel, which was the same power that was keeping her alive. So realistically, she shouldn't have turned to dust, but rather should have just fell out of the tower and broken her spine. But finally, what I think is possibly the most head-scratching part of this entire movie comes when Flynn takes Rapunzel to the kingdom to watch the lanterns. When they get to the kingdom, they start meeting the citizens and everyone starts dancing and partying with them. What makes absolutely zero sense though, is that Rapunzel was the missing child of the royal family for at least a decade, and yet literally none of the civilians notice that she is the missing princess. There is even a big mural on a wall that shows the entire family, including Rapunzel, and still none of the citizens notice. There are so many hints that she is the missing princess, like, oh, I don't know, her super long blonde hair, her green eyes, the big mural on the wall that shows her when she was a child, and yet no one notices. I cannot even think of an explanation on how this is possible. They're literally having a festival on that day about her, and they can't even recognize her when she's interacting with the entire kingdom. This is essentially the equivalent of going to the presidential election and not noticing Donald Trump dancing around in a shirt that says in big bold letters, "I am Donald Trump." Like, how do you miss that kind of thing? Okay, now, if you haven't clicked off this video yet, some of you may be out there saying something like, "Some guy cool, this is a Disney movie for children. Why are you pointing out the silly stuff that happens in this silly movie for children?" Well, I actually have something much more serious to talk about relating to this movie, if you don't care enough about these silly mistakes. Adolf Hitler was an Austrian-born German politician that is notorious for being one of the most evil humans in history. As the leader of the Nazi Party, he was responsible for the genocide of millions and millions of Jews during World War II. Upon Paul von Hindenburg's death on August 2nd, 1934, Hitler replaced him as the head of state and thereafter transformed Germany into a totalitarian dictatorship. Hitler implemented numerous racist policies that sought to deport or kill Jews and other races that were seen as less than. Hitler believed in the existence of an Aryan race, a race he believed founded a superior type of humanity. Hitler's racist policies of Nazi Germany were based on doctrines that indicated there were certain races that were considered subhumans. These policies also preached the idea of the Aryan race or master race, which were superior humans to the races below it on the racial hierarchy. These superior races were identified by many characteristics, such as their straight and light hair, their light eyes, and their fair skin. And do you know who else has straight light hair, light eyes, and fair skin? That's right. Rapunzel is a prime example of the Aryan race that Hitler preached of. Disney is trying to establish the idea of a master race to children by using Rapunzel as an ideal good person. Rapunzel is the only character in this movie with blonde hair, which demonstrates how Disney is essentially trying to convey to children that people like Rapunzel are special and better than everyone else. This is obviously not something that we want out of Disney. I mean, can you imagine children going around to houses telling others how unspecial they are because they aren't blonde or have light eyes? This is what is truly wrong with Tangled. Not the silly mistakes or plot holes that are in the movie, but rather Disney attempting to push its Nazi propaganda to recreate the next Holocaust. But hey, if you don't want to believe that good old Disney could possibly be using their children's movies to push their evil agenda, I won't try and convince you. Just take this as a warning of the dark future ahead if we do not acknowledge this further. Disclaimer, this entire video is a joke. I feel like in this day and age, some people may actually take what I'm saying in this video seriously, so just to be clear, Disney is probably not the second coming of Hitler, and you should never make such blasphemous accusations without a lot of solid evidence. Please don't sue me, Disney. Thank you, please subscribe.